Here's another random thing about deck editing. Okay. I know one of the things I mentioned before was, need to make sure you have a good theme. At the same time, that's not the only thing you look at. By this I mean balance. Different decks today I've seen, again, they have a good theme. Again, on a more specific level, you look at different deck lists from tournaments, you see all these Lightsworn and Blackwing decks. That's just the quickest and most recent example I can give. And those decks, I've noticed one thing. They focus a lot on, summoning new monsters and things like that, and complementing each other in that respect. That's all good. Whatever helps you out. But at the same time, I'm another one of the little things I advocate or whatever. One thing I like to look at is a different type of balance. This is something as simple as even one of my manuals, I think, even mentioned balancing out between monsters and your spells and traps. That's a pretty good distinction to make whenever you're trying to draw certain cards. In my opinion, I find that very helpful. Others might not see it the same way, but there's different categories you can look at that way. Example, say you have a deck with a whole bunch of monsters. Good for you. You got a bunch of monsters. More often than not, your life points are going to be safe in one way or another. But at the same time, that's the only thing you can really do, depending on the monster, of course. I'll admit, not really ignorance, but something along those lines, but I haven't totally looked at all the Blackwing cards, so I don't know what all they do, or similar decks like that. All these different, those Gladiator Beasts, or Quakimerus, stuff like that. I'll admit, I don't know exactly what all they do. Maybe they do help, and they do hold their own as monsters. But anywho, I see decks like that, and monsters make up roughly 75% of the deck. And then they don't put much emphasis on, spells and traps and things like that. I find that slightly detrimental. Again, this is just personal opinion, of course. Judge or question all you want. We all have our opinions. Another fact of life. Okay, anywho, stuff like that, I find it better that, use spells and traps more. Have those to be a bigger part of your deck if at all possible. Because monsters can't do it all. Certain cards like, Gravity Binders, things like that, or certain combos that, sure, they could be rare, but when the time comes, you could be in trouble. You'll have to find a way to defend against that. As far as that goes, you can even go even deeper. There's different spells and traps that you can use. That's another distinction I'd like to make here. I think I see it better with some traps, but even spells too. There's a difference between spells and traps that help you and ones that hurt your opponent. There's stuff that helps you, like Draining Shield, you get life points, and then there's stuff that hurts your opponent, like Mirror Force. There's a good distinction of cards like that, and you can try to find a balance even deeper by looking at those categories. I find that very helpful, and whenever you're making a deck and try to find what you're trying to do the most. Is this going to be something that you're trying to stall where life points play a big factor? Or is this something that, you're just trying to beat your opponent to bloody pulp and trying to end the thing in the quickest fashion possible? Again, it all comes down to preference. Okay, so that was just another random tip from me, D Magician Ninja. Hope some of you found it helpful. and I'll see y'all for the next one. Catch you later.